Is the San Francisco real estate market about to crash? Are we in for a correction? And what does that correction really look like? Okay, so let's break it down real quick, right? I've been selling real estate for 20 plus years in San Francisco and beyond. Back in 2008, if you recall, way back then, we had a financial collapse. And why was that collapse there? It's because subprime mortgages, lenders were lending 100% mortgages on assets to unqualified shoppers, and you really had this great burst of real estate values, and then it corrected. But how much did it correct at the time? You know, you'd be surprised. It didn't correct that long, and for that much. You saw maybe a 10% correction, which really didn't really have too much effect. It did on the TIC owners out there, but outside of that, you're fine. The market really started coming back up in 2012. I remember it seemed like somebody had flipped a light switch and the market was back on. And that's really when the quantitative easing, and you had a lot of money coming in, the Fed had a lot of bond buying, and that's really the start of QE, right? And that's really where, you know, you saw asset prices in the whole start to jump. But before COVID, the market slowed down a little bit. I wouldn't say values had gone anywhere, you know, because they've already been high. But when I saw the softest part of the market was more of the luxury doorman buildings, those were the slowest, and I think still are the slowest part of the marketplace. During COVID, at the beginning of COVID, everybody panicked, everybody freaked out. And then there was that demographic shift, right? A lot of people were like, oh, everybody's going to Arizona. We're out of here. The reality is most of those people, they just relocated across the bay from the city to other parts of the Bay Area. What did that have an effect within the real estate market within the city? Now remember, the city is a different animal than most counties, right? You had areas that really started to take off, the older neighborhoods. Then you had the South Beach market that was slow. And the reason why that was is because COVID. Nobody wants to be in a big building sharing elevators, all getting the pandemic sickness, right? So, and a lot of those tenants that were in those units, they jumped their lease, they left, right? And so you had the market in South Beach, Mission Bay too, that market came down. But every other place within the city had gone up. And it doesn't really matter if it's a condo, TIC, single family homes. Single family homes did great. I mean, let's just face it. Single family homes throughout the Bay did phenomenally well, because you know what? People started working at home, and that was the new normal, right? It really was. And you know, from the reports and the articles I've been reading lately, it's still that way. I don't think it's changing too quickly. Really what we're gonna have here is a market that is going up, and people still are valuing their homes even more so than they did before, because they're in their home more. When you're looking at the data points, I am hopeful that South Beach in particular and Mission Bay, where all the jobs and transportation are within the city, is going to come back. But I'm a little bit worried that that's going to be the slowest part of the market. Really, because, you know, some of those employees, they don't want to go back to work. They actually value staying at home more. They want to come back 50% of the time. They actually value working at home as maybe 10 or 11% of the value of working at home. So they're actually willing to take pay cut, basically 10%, just so they can work at home. Think about that. They also spend less money if they come to work and you're working out of one of the big buildings and you leave, you're getting lunch, you're paying for parking, gas. You know, it's like $5,000 a year that they're saving by working at home. You know, that's just it. You know, so I think what we're at right now is somewhat of an inflection point, and it really took place about 3 weeks ago when the Fed chair and the Fed policy changed from quantitative easing to quantitative tightening. What does that mean? They're not buying bonds anymore, right? Interest rates are going up because we have an inflation problem because there's been way too much money printing in the last number of months, year and a half, right? And that money printing was really to offset the pandemic. But believe me, there has been an enormous amount of money supply that's been going out into the marketplace. That's really one of the reasons why we have inflation, one of the reasons, right? So it comes down to, where are we going to go with this marketplace? I firmly believe that real estate is sort of a necessity for people in raising their families, right? It's more than just an investment. It is your home. It is where you raise your family and build your memories. I personally think that you time the real estate market, you try to buy on the low if you can and sell at the high and watch the roller coaster, and you time the real estate market. That's like the classic investment philosophy in real estate, right? Buy low, sell high. But when it comes down to residential real estate, it changes a little bit, because you know what? There's a family dynamic, people want to nest, and especially here in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Marin County, East Bay also, all of these homes are different. You have homes from, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, some are brand new, some fully renovated, and it really comes down to where you're going to time that marketplace, right? And when are you going to find that right home that's going to be perfect for you? So what do I think? Well, I think that right now, at the beginning of Q2 in 2022, what we're really seeing is people are starting to acknowledge interest rates are going to go up. I need to buy in right now before the rates go screaming high. Because, when was the last time you started hearing the word stagflation, right? It's now in the media. And I'm not too worried about certain things. Yes, there are corrections. Yes, there's, some people predict a recession next year. The yield curve inverted. I get all that. But those people that are actively working, are making money, secure in their job, secure in their future, you're going to be absolutely fine. Just depends, a couple quarters of slower growth, yeah, whatever, right? It does affect people for sure. But when you got to look at is the interest rates and where is it going to be too much for the purchasing power of a buyer, right? When interest rates go up, I remember back in, I think it was 2006, interest rates went up from 5 to 5.5 to 6, and it really affected the marketplace. And so really, those are the things that we have to look out for. But what are we going to be ending up in this year? Well, I'll tell you, it's supply and demand. There is no supply of good homes. Those homes that are on the market that are nice, clean, renovated, good to go, move-in ready, don't have to do a thing, those things are going to sell very, very quickly. Heck, I put a property on the market under coming soon on Friday, and I'm already in contract 2 days. Multiple bids. So the market is one of these things that, it depends on what the property is and where it is. There's going to be a big difference between a single family home versus a condo in South Beach, right? Those properties that are listed seemingly low to start, right? And really well done, they're going to sell. They're absolutely going to sell. If you were a buyer in this market and you were looking to try to get the best deal, look at those properties that have been on the market for 20, 30, 40 plus days. Those are the opportunities, and you're always looking at equity within the market, right? Within the property itself. Does a homeowner have a lot of equity? If so, they might be more motivated, right? Bottom line. So, in synopsis, I'd have to say that I think real estate transactions are going to be lower, but values are going to maintain. I don't see much correction that's going to happen. And part of the reason, once again, it's supply and demand. There's no inventory on the market. There's not going to be any inventory on the market. It's not going to accelerate. There's not going to be a lot of inventory because simply look at this. If you have a nice home and you want to move, even if you want to downsize, you're going to be paying more money to downsize. Where are people going to move? So inventory this year, I guarantee it. Well, there's no guarantee in real estate. I predict that it's still going to be tight, and you're still going to maintain pricing. You're not going to have this huge acceleration of values, but you're going to maintain value absolutely. And you know what? You're going to have less transactions in the marketplace. That's just the way I see it, right? So if you are interested in learning more, if you are thinking about buying, the reality is I field calls all the time, every day, for people looking at condos in South Beach, people looking at old Victorians in North Beach or the older neighborhoods, homes in the city, homes in Marin County. And it really just comes down to knowing that specific real estate market. Absolutely, you cannot generalize any of this. So if you're looking to buy or sell in South Beach, north of the city, in North Beach, Russian Hill, Pacific Heights, Marin County where I live, then please give me a call, ring me, and just let's have an open conversation about your goals. I ask a lot of questions, and we'll talk about what you really want to achieve. And in the meantime, as I said, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on all of my socials. If you want to know a little bit more specific about me, hit my LinkedIn profile and you'll get everything you need to know. Thank you so much for watching, and watch the next video if you found this one helpful. Thanks so much.